سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. We're on Surah Al-Rahmān. Which ayah is this? Ayah 62. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions one level of Jannah for those who fear standing in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment. So their fear will translate into tranquility, security, and everlasting well-being. That's one group. So they have a higher compartment or a higher class in Jannah, the first class. Allah mentions a few of those inamat, blessings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what He does in Jannah is that He represents, articulates His honor and His love for those people by enumerating all the gifts that He has now prepared for them. So that's one. So since there is a difference in the behavior and actions of human beings, that not all actions of believers are the same, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a slightly lower class of the people of Jannah. So if you get into Jannah by any which way, you're good. Doesn't matter whether it's a lower class or higher class. There's no such thing as being deprived in Jannah. You'll be very happy, very satisfied. Inshallah. But there's another group here. وَمِن دُونِهِمَا جَنَّتَانِ. And besides these two gardens that are for those in the higher grade, there are two more gardens. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as I mentioned, does things in pairs. وَمِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَا زَوْجَيْنِ. That in everything we create, they're in pairs. So there's a pair of orchards and groves for the higher level, and there are pairs of groves and orchards for the lower one. So it's less, they're lesser. That's just to encourage people to be in the higher class. When you're traveling and you have now, mashallah, points, you want to upgrade to the higher class. You don't want to stay in the economy. So there is now a motivational. But even in the lower class, you're doing good. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which one of the favors of your Lord then do you deny? We don't deny any of your favors, Ya Rabb. مُدْهَامَّتَانِ. Yeah. What is the description of these orchards? They're in thickets. They'll be covered by huge, lush forests. It'll be like the forest is an umbrella, which will be spectacular. You can just imagine that. So you see now, the Jannah itself means something that's hidden. So the Jannah, within the Jannah, will be hidden by these now very dense green forests. If you can see that in your mind. Mudhammatan, they're dark and they're green. The greenery gives you a sense of security, serenity, a sense of life. And the thickness gives you more security. So you're in a dome of trees, basically. You're surrounded by trees on all sides. And then inside, obviously, the trees, they have fruits which are very close to you, as you will see. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which one of the favors of your Lord do you then deny? We don't deny any of your favors, Ya Rabb. فِيهِمَا عَيْنَانِ نَضَّاخَتَانِ. So in them, in both of them, there are two springs that are, what do you call it, gushing, nadakha. They're coming out with force. And it gives you, obviously, a sensation. It gives you an effect. It gives you a sense of power. It gives you a sense of mobility. It gives you a sense of life. And that, you see, for those of you who haven't seen springs that emit water from the ground, maybe you should take a trip and see how that feels when you go there. Natural springs. It's a spectacular sensation when you actually see it. But then they gush forth, and what are they going to gush forth with? And that's the life, basic life, water. And so this is one ayah. Why is this now a lower level compared to the other ayah, which says that there are فِيهِمَا عَيْنَانِ تَجْرِيَانِ, that in those two gardens there are, what do you call it, springs that run, flowing springs, running springs. So why are the running and flowing springs that don't gush out superior than these springs that do, just come out from the ground, and they have a more kind of upbeat? So that's something you should ask. So why those two springs that are very gentle and soft, tajriyan, and they flow? Why are there those in the first class, and why are these in the second class? Yeah. So Jannah is a place of pure sukoon. Right? So any ni'mah that represents sukoon is going to be higher. Right? So since those streams will be flowing, and I mentioned the sound of the water, the ni'mah will also be that you hear the sound of the water flowing down. So that sound itself, the acoustics, is incredible, and it is a ni'mah in of itself. Here in this one, the sound is agitating, so there's not so much sukoon here. There's a sense of, upbeat motivation and all of that, which is not, as serene as the previous streams and rivers and springs. So, mashallah, in life, you have two types of people. One, those who, mashallah, they're with the beat, They're always on the run. They have adrenaline, and they need their morning coffee to function. And there are those who are calm, calculated, and they take things easy. They don't need a morning pill. They just are. So that's the difference between the two maqam. One maqam is that way, total serenity and sukoon. They're in sync with Allah because Allah is salam. This one is about action. So these are the people who are active, but they need noise. Right? You go to a barber shop and he's blasting the music. So I ask him, what is this? He says, just noise. So what do you mean? He said, I need noise to work. So that's why you're a barber. You're in the lower category of human beings. You need noise. And in the higher category of music, you have a professor there sitting in the gardens of New York, and he hears nothing except the flow of water and the birds singing, and he's in his element, basically. So that's the difference between the two. So sometimes those who enjoy, active participation, and they enjoy a little bit of noise, and they have the beat, then they will enjoy this one, the two water gushing out. This is almost like a violent thing. Right? It won't be violent, it'll be very pleasant, inshallah. You'll enjoy it too, inshallah. So there is, you see the difference in the variation of the ni'mah that this ni'mah is here in this level and this ni'mah is here in this level. So you can see how Allah is expressing, articulating His creativity by creating two very different types of the same phenomenon. That's what we want to see in Al-Rahmān. Al-Rahmān does this. Anyway, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, which one of the favors of your Lord then do you deny? We don't deny any of your favors, Ya Rabb. فِيهِمَا فَاكِهَةٌ وَنَخْلٌ وَرُمَّانٌ. So as previously in the first group, there were fruits, lots of them. They're very easily accessible. Likewise here, the purpose of trees, obviously, is that you have fruits. If there are no fruits, then there's no purpose for the trees. So here you'll have fruits all over, a lot of fruits. And then Allah now brings up two, specifically the dates, palms, and the pomegranates. Two very special fruits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has now in store for these people, inshallah. So they'll have dates. Dates is a luxury. Inshallah, obviously, it's a fruit that everybody enjoys, and high in protein, and you can survive on dates in the desert, as you know. So you don't need to survive in Jannah, you'll just eat for pleasure. Because dates are beloved to the Arab, and since most people who received the first revelation were Arab, it would not be very nice to say there will be no dates. So there will be dates. Plenty of them. There are different types of dates. You go to Medina date market, you see hundreds and hundreds of different types of dates. There are so many names for so many dates. So there's a lot of multiplicity in one fruit. So the Rahman will show multiplicity in one. Not just one plant, but in one fruit, there can be multiple variations. And that will be a spectacle in of itself. That when you have a spread, right? And you have these lavish parties here in Chicago, and you go to the spread, and you have the dessert table. And you have 100 desserts. What the heck is this? 100 desserts. So likewise, you'll have multiple types of dates on one tree. And that spectacle is a ni'mah. You just feel so happy in bliss. And say, wow, observing something that is grand in of itself is a ni'mah. Rumman is a very strange fruit that you're eating the seeds. Types of fruits in Jannah that Adam alayhi salam came down with. The one type was where you eat the skin and not the seed, or you eat the outer and not the inner. Berries, for instance, and the fig. The fig, you eat the outer and the seed with it. And there are fruits that you dispense of the outer and you eat the fruit inside, like a banana. And so on. There are other types of fruits there where you have to open up the shell and then eat the fruit. So here you have to open up the shell, which is usually quite soft, and you eat the fruit inside. So there are variations of different types of fruits that Allah creates just so that you can witness His creativity. More than the fruit itself, or the taste of the fruit, or the nourishment, nutrition in the fruit, you have to appreciate Allah's presentation. How does Allah present food to you? So if you have a rotten, ugly apple, you going to eat that? I don't think so. So you have a beautiful red apple, exciting, delicious, and then you'll eat it. So the presentation of the Rahman is part of His creativity. How does Allah present the ni'mah to you? So when you obviously give a gift to somebody, you don't want to wrap it up in old newspaper and then give it to your friend. Here's your gift. What is this? This is a gift. But the newspaper wrapping, what am I going to do? Who cares about the wrapping? Go for the gift. He said, that's not how you do it. That's not presentation. Sunallahi alladhi atqana kulla shay. Allah's rule is that when He presents a gift, He presents it in the most beautiful way. It's not kind of second class, it's always first class presentation. So when you obviously present something to your guests, make sure it's presented in the best way. Not in a haphazard, lackadaisical way where you don't care how it looks. You should care how it looks because that's the zahir. And Allah is always with the zahir. So the zahir of the fruit of the pomegranate is just so appealing. And the pearls, the seeds are like pearls. And you want to eat them, and if they're sweet, it's very delicious. So it's a different type of fruit, the pomegranate. Is it included in the classification of fruits? That's a discussion. Abu Hanifa says no, the rumman is not from the same classification of fawakih, because Allah separates them here in this ayah. So He used it to justify a fiqhi position, that fiqh can be extracted from Jannah. Not just ahkam of dunya, ahkam of the akhirah. If somebody takes an oath, I will never eat fruit again, and then goes and eats a pomegranate, then he will not be breaking his oath, according to Abu Hanifa. Because Allah separated the fruit from the pomegranate. Right? Now, what kind of mind do you have that you're seeing this? Meaning that Jannah is available in the dunya in terms of fiqh. So He's brought the description of the fruit in Jannah to the level of fiqh, which is super genius. Yeah, that's His fiqh, mashallah. Anyway, so this is فَبَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, which one of the favors of your Lord do you then deny? We don't deny any of your favors, Ya Rabb. فِيهِنَّ خَيْرَاتٌ حِسَانٌ. That when you are in Jannah and you're living in a very lavish palace, you have trees and gardens and water all around you, but then you need company. You can't be alone in Jannah. Jannah is not made for lonely people. Jannah, you'll always be with people. It's a community, it's a society where you have to be with somebody. You can't be holier than thou, because then you won't be in Jannah. You can be isolated, but you have to be isolated in the fire. You can't be isolated here, you need company. Obviously, celibacy, is a religion which is false. We don't believe in that. You have to be with somebody. Only Allah is unique, so He doesn't need a companion. So you let Him be Himself. He's alone. He doesn't need companions. Yeah, even the Prophet needed companions. So you need company. Don't be so antisocial and high and mighty that you feel that, oh, no one's like me. Yeah, no one's like you, but you'll end up in hell. Then definitely no one's like you. So come down to the level of human beings and live with human beings and appreciate the sensitivities of human beings. And don't always assume that you're above human beings and their emotions. No, you're human beings. So this, companionship is a necessary ni'mah in Jannah. Allah will provide that companionship in this spectacular way, which we spoke of the other time also. All right. فِيهِنَّ خَيْرَاتٌ حِسَانٌ. In them there are, absolutely beautiful khayrat. Allah calls them khair, not shar, women. Khayrat here refer to the women in Jannah. Khayrat. When they're all khair, the embodiment of khair and nur and blessings, there's no shar there, there's no evil there, there's no malice there, there's no deception there. And there's no deceit there, and there's no intrigue there. They are transparent. What you see is what you get, basically. So you don't have to react and you then become conniving and conspiring and doing things behind their backs and just to make sure you get one over them. You don't need to do that with the women in general because they're pure. They are a result of your good deeds. The more good deeds you have, the better looking your hur will be. Anyway, that's the way it is. But the what do you call it? Character is impeccable. So what do you want in a woman? Impeccable character. Not just beauty. You want to make sure she's loyal, she's faithful, she now serves you. So this will be the description of the, obviously, for those, mashallah, poor, hopeless romantics in the world. They have this to look forward to. There's hope for you in Jannah. So take it easy. Don't become desperate and commit sin. It's okay. It's on the other side of the other world of your life. Not too far away. Hisan, spectacular in beauty. Hisan means spectacular in beauty. They will be unbelievable in how Allah creates them. So Allah creates. Allah's creation, obviously, is magnificent in everything He creates. But the most magnificent creation is the creation of the human being himself. And then creating a mate, a partner for this spectacular human being is a piece of art. Right? Yeah. So this one goes with this. This one matches this one. So they will match you, they'll match your personality, they'll understand your likes and dislikes. And so that's creation of that hur, obviously, is what you will be bewildered with. Wow, subhanAllah. So it's all about the ni'mah of the hur herself is fine. But the fact that you'll see Allah's creation in action is a higher level of ni'mah, higher level of appreciation for which there is no, honestly, substitute. They say when inshallah we get to the gates of Jannah, we'll stand there 40 years admiring the gate, admiring the creativity of Allah, the detail, the minute detail of Allah. I mean, you feel that. For those of you who go to masajid in the world and you see a spectacular masjid, you stand there and you admire them for about 5-10 minutes, let it sink in. Right? So that the beauty of the gates of Jannah won't sink in for 40 years. You'll just be mesmerized, man. So you can imagine when you look at a hur in Jannah, you'll freeze, basically. You don't know what's happening to you. It won't be that you're rushed, impatient, kind of cowboy. Oh, yeah, let me get this with both hands. You'll be sophisticated. You'll stand there and you'll admire the beauty first, so that you take in Allah's creativity. That's the Rahmān there for you. There's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rahmah. Allah give us all these in'amat, inshallah. So the Hisan, spectacular in beauty. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which one of the favors of your Lord then do you deny? Yeah. Women, when they hear these ayat of hur being gorgeous and beautiful, they might be thinking, oh, this is kind of Jannah is very sexist too. So the Prophet ﷺ consoled them. You see, no, it's not like that. So there will be a bazaar of faces in Jannah. So you and your husband will visit the bazaar, and there will be multiple faces in Jannah. That you go now face shopping. You and your wife will go face shopping, and your wife will then choose the face she likes. Yeah, just in case, equal opportunity, Jannah. It's not one-sided. So they can also, mashallah, take solace in the Prophet ﷺ's words, inshallah. لم يطمثهن إنس قبلهم ولا جان. That no ins, no before them, no any jinn before have deflowered them. So they'll be pure, they'll be virgins, which is a huge ni'mah. Meaning they'll only taste you and they'll recognize you. And the baby now smells the mother, and the baby is always going to be attached to the mother because of that smell. Now he's attached to the mother, even though he doesn't know. As soon as the mother comes in the room, the baby knows. So likewise, as soon as you come into the tent, they will know it's you through their sense perception. These gifts of Allah in Jannah, they're sensual. They're not metaphorical. They're not metaphysical. They're sensual. They're physical. So the five senses are, mashallah, taken care of in Jannah. The sense of smell, or the great perfume that there is. The sense of touch, the sensation in everything that you touch in Jannah. Even the skin of the fruit, there'll be sensation. And sensation in how you live and how you sleep, as you'll see in the next ayah. Sensation in your taste, and sensation in your eyes, and sensation in your ears, with the great kind of songs that the women of Jannah will be singing, and the tasbih of the angels and all of that. So there'll be tremendous sensual perception. Okay, so we have to appreciate that you're talking to someone who's a nomad running around in the desert where there is no sense perception of anything. Where is he going to get a sweet smell there? He's going to smell the cow dung. Where is he going to sense of touch? There's nothing there to touch except the coarse, tent that he's living in. Where's he going to sense of taste? There's nothing there to taste. There's not even salt there. So now you're measuring up all of these sensual perceptions to someone who's a nomad, a very simple life, and he's mesmerized by the concept. And that is what brings him to Islam. And that who can actually coin and phrase ideas that are so real in a sensual way that I actually see myself right there now. So it's in the language, as I've said before. The miracle of the Quran is in its language. I've never heard this. And obviously they're very creative, the Arabs. They have the oral tradition and they can compose poetry in their sleep. They say these words are kind of beyond our ability to perceive and conceive. Just the idea is beyond us. And how you are depicting the idea in these words is simply beyond us. So they have to accept that this is the Quran. They have to accept this is the truth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just the power of the literary beauty of the Rahman. This is articulation. Rahman is the one who expresses himself. Allamahul bayan. This is all bayan of the Rahman. So that is what captivates the true seeker. It's dumbed down, unfortunately, in translation. You can appreciate, if you know a little bit of Arabic, you can appreciate it, inshallah. Anyway, so this is how all the five senses will be heightened and serviced by Allah. So that's why we maintain our five senses. Our five senses is what will allow us to enjoy Jannah. So don't knock the five senses. Take care of them. Yeah. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ? Which one of the favors of your Lord do you deny? We don't deny any of them. مُتَّكِئِينَ عَلَى رَفْرَفٍ خُضْرٍ وَعَبْقَرِيٍّ حِسَانٍ. This statement is a statement of, what do you call it, attitude. What will be the demeanor and the body language of people who live in Jannah? Have you ever seen people who go into first class? You see their body language, and if they're going into the lounges, you see their body language. They have a bit of swagger, holding the, yeah, don't care about you. I live in luxury, so you're second class. I'm first class. So there's a swagger there that's generated by the class. And you feel entitled. Yeah, that everybody else in the world has to serve you because you're entitled. That entitlement is based off superiority complexes. More apparent in third world countries than maybe here. Not so much here. Nobody could care less about you. If you go to third world countries, the disparity is so obvious. That if you're a well-to-do person and if you're a higher upper class person, then you won't even walk the same streets as the other people. You'll never shop where they shop. You'll speak the way they speak. You won't eat what they eat. You're at a kind of different level. Obviously, it's vanity and pride and falsehood. But here in Jannah, you have to appreciate the body language of those who live in Jannah. The body language will be one of swagger. Alhamdulillah. Allah has allowed us to be here, and He's allowed them over there, them people in Jahannam over there. Then the people in Jahannam will see the people of Jannah as added punishment. So there'll be, what do you call it, a broadcast between the two. And they will have dialogues too between each other. Yes, you have to understand that the backdrop to this ayah is not a reclining couch. This is about the attitude. It's about the body language. It's about making a statement. متكئين على رفرف خضر وعبقري حسان. That they will be reclining, leaning against very stupendous cushions, rough, green, meaning the green will be so beautiful to look at, and the greenery, along with the greenery of the trees, you have greenery in the furniture where there's kind of designed to perfection, color coding, matching colors, everything. So they'll be just beautiful to look at, and they'll be very soft so that they will not hurt you and they won't harm you. They'll just relax you. So more relaxation in your posture. So the posture of the people of Jannah will be one of now supreme ni'mah. Abqariyin hisan. This is a very intriguing word, abqariyin. Very ingenious construction. And obviously it's from Allah, so it's a miracle. Abqariyin. Abqari gives you a sense of genius. In the word itself, in the Arabic language, there was abqari. Somebody who's abqari is someone who's a genius. Aisha is abqariya, the genius in knowledge. So abqari there is that it will be woven with such precision and beauty that it will simply be ingenious the way it is woven. The cushion. When you see a beautiful carpet and you see how it's woven, that's if you look at it. Most guys don't look at that. The women look at it and say, oh, look, this is woven. Precise. So there you will notice how ingeniously the cushions are woven with strands of silk and satin and so on. Hisan, again, the word comes extremely beautiful. Meaning the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will present to you the cushions of Jannah, it will be flawless. That you won't see any deficiency in Allah's presenting the cushion. I mean, it has to look nice. And then it has to feel nice. And it has to be nice so that you're nice. It's a total perfection. Yeah. And that's the amazing thing about the Rahman, Surah Rahman. It's about the super ingenious depiction, articulation of Allah's inamat through His creation and then through His articulation in words. If you read Surah Rahman, you will know this is from Allah. You'd have to be a very dumb person not to see that. Now, this cannot be conceived by any human being. It's not possible. These words, and so there you have to enjoy, I think, a little bit of what you call it, arts. One is you enjoy concepts, which we all do. You go to school and you learn concepts and ideas and rules and God knows what, scientific facts. You come to the Quran, you learn language. That one of the greatest pleasures in life is enjoying language, enjoying words. So you must develop that taste as a connoisseur. So that all the Muslim Ummah, the Udaba, those who were literalists, they all enjoyed sophisticated language. We had a standard in language, which we don't know. We don't have that anymore. So we've fallen through all the cracks and we've become dumb as cowboys. Yeah. You all, what's going on here? You all, doesn't even sound pretty. Have a refined taste in your language. Use the words. The Arabic language offers this refinedness. Tafaddal. Simple word. Tafaddal. See how refined and beautiful it is. Tafaddal. Offer your fadila here. Tasharraf. Offer your sharafa here. Not the hey, have a seat. There's a difference. But until the Muslim refines his language, until the Muslim develops a sweetness in appreciating a higher level of communication, they will never understand the Quran. It is not possible. Because this is what it is. It's all the language. Yeah. So the Prophet ﷺ used spectacular language, very refined and very cultured, the same with the Sahaba. And so when you read the books of Hadith, it's so refined and cultured that you don't get any slang in there. You might get a few proverbs in there, some idioms, but you don't get any slang in there. It's not casual language. It's very refined and very proper, sophisticated, articulate. And so that's how we used to be with the Ottomans and with the Mughals. And with the Mughals, they had a class of people that they called the Mirza. The Mirza was a class where people spoke in a very refined way. You could not enter the Mirza club until you knew how to speak sophisticatedly. Your language, how you articulate it. What do you see? Where do you see the beauty in human beings? The beauty in human beings, obviously, the human beings' beauty is in the dress, is in what you call it, the behavior, akhlaq. But more than that, it's in the language. And that is the meaning of the word Arab. Well, Arab means someone who knows how to articulate and speak, because they always use refined language. All of them. And the Ajam was someone who didn't know how to speak, meaning the non-Arab. Which is probably true. Yeah. But we developed that as a civilization until we reached the heights of sophistication and articulation, which is super. Even when we took on the Farsi language, we developed it to a height where it's super sophisticated. When we coined the Urdu language, we developed the Urdu language with such precision, articulation, and beauty that it's just super sweet. If you went to Lucknow or Deoband and you heard the Urdu there, it is mesmerizing. That's the sweetness in the language. Yeah. the refinement and the knowledge that goes into each construction, into each world, shows that you are a civilization that appreciates beauty, that appreciates ihsan, not something, as I said, that you just run-of-the-mill trash from South Chicago languages. It's not even funny. Muslims must develop an appreciation for speaking properly. Until they speak properly, they won't understand the Quran. It's not possible. Understanding the language of the Quran means you already have a taste for the sweetness of the language. And when you have this, and then on top of that, you read the Quran, then you'll see the sweetness of the Quran in every word, every letter, every syllable. This is beyond human perception. And then you'll never waver about whether the Quran is the truth. The Quran is the truth because you can't replicate any word of the Quran. It's not possible for you. You're a human being. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, through His fadl and His grace, reveals this Surah Rahman to enhance and to promote the development of language, bayan. And Muslims must take a message from this surah. Not just the sensual pleasures that Allah is now describing. Those are one side. Forget those. Just do this. You'll be in Jannah in the dunya. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, when we're in the company of ulama who can speak, we're very happy. The language is so simple. Unfortunately, when you're in the company of those who can't speak, you're kind of disturbed and always angry and frustrated. We're definitely not in Jannah. Yeah. So that's, it's not about being snobbish. It's about being someone who appreciates the ihsan and beauty in what Allah has created. And it's very ingenious. It's kind of the idea that a community could create a language called Urdu, and it became so good that within 100 years it became such a sophisticated language that everybody talks in that language. It's a miracle of the Muslim Ummah. No other Ummah could have done this, to create a language out of nothing. Right? It's a new language, very, relatively very new language, but see how it's done. People look down upon Urdu now because you don't know. You can't give diamonds to a kid who's looking for, candy in the streets. The diamond can only be recognized by the diamantier and the person who knows jewels and so on. So that's how it is now. So you mustn't look down upon Urdu. It's not even that it's culture or whatever. It's about scholarship and appreciating academics and appreciating Allah's fadl with this ummah, that it gave this ummah the creativity that led to the creation of a new language, which is mind-boggling. You won't find that in human civilization. Appreciate the genius of the Mughal. Appreciate the artistic value of the Mughal. Appreciate the ihsan of the Mughal. Sometimes we're hoping to have an Urdu class here. You guys can join that class. Along with Arabic, there's no substitute to Arabic. There's no comparison with Arabic. Obviously, Arabic is a revealed language. There's no doubt. And there's probably no comparison to the Farsi. The Farsi is just an exquisite language. It's just so beautiful. But we took it and we used it and we excelled in it and we took it to its perfection. That's what I'm asking you to think about. That Muslims were not docile. They weren't passive. When they saw something good, they took that to its perfection. They didn't keep it there. They weren't stagnant. Look at food. Muslims looked at food. This one, Babar, came to India and he just scoffed and scorned at the Hindu. These people have no culture. They don't know what food is. They don't know what ice is. They have no mannerisms. They have no architecture. They have no cuisine. They're just a deprived nation. Allah's lana is upon them because they're deprived. He talked about the Hindus. He wrote this in his Baburnama. The Muslims came and they gave them culture. They gave them cuisine. They gave them clothing. They gave them architecture. They gave them sophistication. This is what Muslims do. We add value to all civilizations. It was like, okay, you think this biryani came about in a vacuum? Oh, somebody just made up the idea of a biryani. No, it was created. It was on purpose. It was calculated that we need to refine this food so that we can enjoy it. Right? Then you look at the history of the kebab and you look at the history of Muslim cuisine. It's exquisite to the limits. This is what we offer to the world because we are creative. We read Surah Al-Rahmān and we see the creativity of the Rahmān. And we take that creativity and put it into society. We put it into work. So collectively, we are guided by the Quran in our civilization, in our civilizational values. We don't stay there and we remain stagnant. And, so likewise, Muslims in this country, instead of marveling about what the West has to offer, so I don't know why the heck he would do that. I don't see anything there. You guys might see something. I don't. But to take that and then move it up a notch, enhance it, beautify it, refine it, make it better, add value to it instead of acquiescing to the status quo. Oh, this is great. Whatever they give us is great. It's not as great as you think. You have to administer the Surah Rahman in you, and you must see that it is actually very deficient. And it's not as good as you think. There are holes in the system. That is a fractured system. It's a broken system. You have to come to the rescue of human beings and humanity and say, no. So dress and dress code. And so the idea of dressing or not dressing, obviously, where you have sophistication in the design of your, what do you call it, swimsuits. Who wants sophistication in swimsuits? It's nudity, basically. But you can buy a swimsuit for $10,000. People are vain about it. That's pathetic. There's no civilizational value. The value there is nudity. And how you're kind of expressing your gratitude to people who have no manners, no ethics, no values. And so do something that brings value to everything you touch, everything you see, everything you hear, everything you perceive, everything you conceive. Be that Rahman. Bring in the sifa of the Rahman, of Surah Rahman, and you'll see the world is actually very, very bland. The world is very boring. The world is very monotonous. The world is kind of hopeless until you plug in Islam. Islam has a value of creativity. Not just Islam, Salat, those are different issues. They have their values and they're revolutionary. Just the mindset of the Muslim that I want to be sophisticated in what I do. I want to take pride in everything I do. So when I sit down and I want to make dhikr, I want to take pride in my dhikr, subhanAllah. I want to enjoy the flow of the word. I want to enjoy the sound of the word. I want to see the effect of the word on my mind, on my heart, and subhanAllah. That's called awareness. That's called dhikr. That's called sophistication. That's called being a Muslim. Yeah, that's how you do. But anyway, the message in Surah Rahman is one of creativity. That Muslims must find creativity when they read Surah Rahman. If you don't find creativity after Surah Rahman, you're not worthy of anything. So it's a mindset. Change your intellectual standards and change your whole persona and say, okay, no. See how Allah presents all of these gifts and bounties, and not just the form, but also the content. Yeah, the content is mind-boggling. Allah grant us all Jannah, inshallah, through Surah Rahman. Tabarak asma rabbika thil jalali wal ikram. The concluding ayah speaks all. That the barakah is in the name of your Lord. One is the Lord and one is the name. So they're separating the name from the being, the essence, and the person. Allah is the Rabb, the ism of Allah, whatever that ism is. Al-Rahmān, in this case. There is barakah in the name of Allah, the Rahman. So there's barakah all across. And why is that? He is Dhul Jalali wal Ikram, because he is the owner of magnificent qualities, and he's the owner of what you call it, very generous qualities, nobility, and so on. So if you have now immense strength and power, then you'll also be immensely generous. You should be magnanimous. Brute strength, like those who send warships to that place and they we are might is right. There's no ikram in there. They're just uncouth heathens and basically animals, beasts living in the jungle. And might is right. I can devour anything in my way. That's not ikram. There's no barakah in that. There's only lana in there. They're cursed, basically. So Ismu Rabbika, the name of your Lord is so blessed that if you just recite the word Ar-Rahman, there will be blessings. Obviously in a structured way. So full of barakah. Barakah means that you create. Barakah is where creativity is, that you can create now something from something. Allah's name gives you barakah. If you say Bismillah as you eat, the barakah will be in the food in such a way that one person's food will be enough for two. That's creativity, right? How do you quantify that in corporate terms? If I have a party, mashallah, and I've ordered now food for 10 people, and then 20 people come, everybody freaks out. It happens in the house too. No, you say, no, say Bismillah, there'll be barakah. It'll be more than enough for 20 people. That's the Muslim way. So the Muslims employ the barakah formula everywhere they go, alhamdulillah. And they should. So there's always barakah in Allah's name. Say Bismillah. That's why Bismillah Allahu Akbar brings barakah to the animal. If you don't say Bismillah Allahu Akbar, there's no barakah in the animal. It might as well be dead. Hence, Zabiha and non-Zabiha is actually a formula for those who want to enjoy barakah in their food, and that's why. There's no barakah in McDonald's. You probably end up in the toilet. That's the barakah. So bringing down Allah's rahmah through the name of Allah the Rahman is a Muslim convention which Muslims must enjoy, appreciate, practice, and promote aggressively. So say Bismillah when you start eating. Say Bismillah when you're sleeping. Be barakah in your sleep. Say Bismillah as you walk into the house. Say Bismillah as you're putting on your shoes and your clothing. Say Bismillah everywhere. If you say Bismillah, because the barakah is in the name itself, then the being will follow. Inshallah. You can't handle the barakah in Allah's being because your human beings will just die. So we'll kind of dilute it for you by the name. So the name is now what allows you to distill Allah's rahmah. It distills it, Allah's essence, basically. Yeah. So this is the last ayah speaks volumes of the creativity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His name. Someone who has immense power, eternal power to destroy the universe when he decides to, but at the same time, he doesn't do that. He honors his creation and he keeps his creation alive. Al-Ikram, he honors, he is noble, he is generous, so you must seek now pleasure in this also. And there's a certain pleasure in knowing who Allah is. And you must enjoy Allah, His essence, His beauty, His name, His presence, and so on. Anyway, so the bottom line is, the Quran obviously is the greatest ni'mah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, through his stupendous sacrifice, delivered this message to us, and then That message was taken by the Sahaba and other Muslims, who then glorified and blessed humanity with their, civilization. And that civilization is what brings us to this point here, to Dar al-Qasim. We're sitting here through Allah's fadl, trying to enjoy, inshallah, Surah Rahmān. The idea is enjoy the surah. Not necessarily, you don't need to be academic and understand everything. Enjoy it. It's very subjective. If you're in love with Allah, you'll enjoy what Allah is saying. If you're not in love with Allah, then you'll fight with Allah. I don't understand this, I don't understand. Maybe you're not smart enough to understand the ayah. So maybe come down to the level of love. Say, whatever it is from Allah. I love the ayah because Allah's ayah. And so on. Anyway, Jazakallah khair for listening. May Allah help us and guide us. May Allah take care of our brothers and sisters in Gaza. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy the enemy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring us madad and success. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You can turn the recording off. I'd like everybody online also to stay here a few more minutes. We can't close the doors on you and fundraise because you're wherever you are in your house unless you tell somebody in your house to close the doors. We want to talk to you, inshallah, out of ihsan. All right, so.